I am extraordinarily tired today, so forgive me for a small deficit in energy. I am no less enthused and excited that we are all here in preparation for our little hobby and this visit with the shelter. Um, but let's do a little pick me up here. And we are all here with a few moments to spare before our hard start. Are there any questions, suggestions, hypotheses, or corners we'd like to round off before diving in?
Are we all going to be executed at the Harold Washington Library?
There hasn't been a spoiler warning, so I can't say.
Okay, well then I'm pretty good then.
We all are aware as to where we left these lovely, lovely characters, the heroes of our hearts and minds, the shelter. What goes without saying, but I will say it every single solitary chance I get. I was screaming from every mountaintop that I happen to be across. Thank you, and thank you for your time, your efforts, and your energies at this hobby of ours. And without too much further adoing until we don't, this is officially Soup City Sins, Sheltered or Saved, Episode 7, Trees Making Beautiful Gods. When we last left the coterie, they were wrapping up business with the fallout from their adventures with the cult of Helena. When we last left the coterie, they were on their way from one of the most revered and prestigious institutes in all of Chicago. While the kindred know the Blackstone Library as simply the primary chantry in all of Chicago and all of the Midwest. And while those who don't realize that it is a chantry just recognize it as a library up the street from those two schools, the Blackstone Library is literally the foundation for every community library in the entirety of Chicago. Once it was built, it proved the viability of knowledge being accessible to the general public. And several other libraries were built in various other communities around the city, all mimicking and copying what the Blackstone Library initially was. It was a place for the average person to strive and reach above themselves into the tree of knowledge. It was a community center. It was a hub of the community. It was the place where workers gathered to better their positions. It was a place where families gathered to better the children's opportunities moving forward. It was a place where knowledge was held as the primary religion. And all of that was where the Tremere ensconced themselves. And all of this to say, that was not the only place. That was not the only reason. Unbeknownst to the width and breadth of 97% of the kindred in Chicago, the Tremere have places of power in nearly every library throughout the city. Tremere have boat holes, impromptu havens, laboratories, research facilities, and other access to the entirety of the Chicago Public Library system, including and not limited to the Harold Washington Library. They were foundational in their retainers, contacts, and their power in the mortal world in helping design, build, and fund the library. It's the reason why it's signature cantilever roof. Its peaked gables and iron and bronze roof, as well as garden space and hidden alcoves, are what they are. There are mysteries upon mysteries in that location. It is also one of the few the absolute very few Elysiums where kindred might cease to be. And that is where the coterie is headed. So on the drive, which is under the best of conditions, with locals behind the wheel, an average of 40 minutes to move from the Blackstone Library to the Harold Washington Library. It gives the coterie 40 minutes to discuss, to plan, to surmise, or to share information. Are any of those things what the coterie are in fact up to?
I would imagine it is not a silent 40-minute ride. Let me go ahead and do this before I accidentally flub really quickly. So as Aaron's just kind of sitting there with the group, are we're being transported, or are we transporting ourselves?
You're transporting yourselves.
All right. Then, pals, are we in one big vehicle, or are we moving in several vehicles? Like, I imagine I'd be riding with Hestia if she is driving. Hestia, are you driving anything?
Yeah, Hess would be driving, and she would have also taken
You said
Anon
Amand?
Simone.
with her,
Simone,
even
there we
though
go.
she's in
Simone.
over and like
Okay.
grabbed her
Um,
and put her somewhere safe.
That means you got
Now
a
that she's
6-body
been
trunk in
using,
that car then, so you have plenty of space.
Simone's car, she has a little more space.
Alright, well then, as they're driving together, Aaron's just gonna kind of pipe up and be like, so, anything in particular that you want me to say, don't want me to say? Because I don't imagine that you're going to be the only one talked to.
Well, I would say don't offer any knowledge that you don't want as public record, but also don't lie, because
Yeah.
if I
wasn't planning on lying in the
peg
first
this
place, but
correctly,
that's fine.
The people that will be asking us questions can smell a lie or taste a lie in the air, especially Gustavo. So, oh no, I'm not saying. I'm just giving you that heads up. Like, if it's a
Yeah,
shit, I
I'm
should probably
aware.
not
I was
say
giving you
that.
my own little form of a heads up.
Just avoid it if you can, if you feel like it's a trap. But don't lie. If they ask you a direct question, you kind of have to. I guess what we need to figure out is what we both have said to others.
Got in contact with our
I don't know
emissary in the city.
what or who you report to, but when I reported to Damien, I told him what I felt was necessary, but I also didn't tell him certain things.
Did you let Damien know about the... And is there anyone but the coterie within this car conscious? I think
Nope.
you said... Alright. I believe you said you contacted Damien just now. Did you tell him about the primogen? Alright, good. It's probably best that we don't tell
pointedly did not tell
anyone
that I invited a primogen level gang
until the situation can
along
be
with
handled.
us and got her killed. No, I did not do that.
Miriam, Theo, are you two in the car, or are you two off by yourselves?
Of course course Theo is in the car. He's just
Now, do
invisible.
we know you're in the car?
He's just invisible, but he's there.
Okay. He is there. He's just invisible,
As usual.
as usual. As I'm just. Oh, what were we saying?
There is also the fact that I appreciate how you guys wanted to stand up for me, but that guy is an asshole. And he was trying to set me up by setting you up because he did not like the fact that I stood up to him and put him in his so-called place when he kept trying to so-called put me in mine. But the fact that when he was riling you up, attempting
Oh,
to get you to break hospitality and draw first blood, that would have been my ass. No matter the fact that I'm a regent, me inviting you in and you breaking hospitality would have fucked me. So, let's keep that in mind.
so
for
long
next
as he
time.
doesn't
I
get
will
into
have
my
him handled
immediate, the
some
path
other
of my
way,
immediate objective,
and
and
he'll never
stays
fucking
on
see it
grounds
coming.
where
But
it is
up until then,
disinclined to
we
harm
need
each
to
other,
stay hands off.
he doesn't have to
with
worry
the
about
other
me.
chances
I know I
that
may have seemed
if
a bit
possible.
more aggressive than the rest of everybody here. Kind of looks about the car to the space is filled and the space is not. But I'm very good about not lashing out. I understand where and when that needs to be done.
Hmm.
Okay.
And I appreciate that's not the only problem that I have, though. You forget that most, if not a good many, Tremere can see the unseen.
He didn't
It's
see me,
standard
so
fucking practice
I'm
for us to
going
take
to
it because we don't like being
say
snuck up on,
I don't
and
know
we're
because he
often
didn't see me.
dealing with
I walked right
spirits.
past him.
So she
Didn't
looks
notice.
towards where Theo probably is. I'm pretty sure. You think he didn't see you. You think he didn't see you. He's been alive long enough and undead long enough to not give up his poker face had he seen you. Because the thing is, what you guys don't realize, and I probably shouldn't tell you, is that the warding
damn.
on most of the buildings that Tremere use alerts any Tremere in
Did
that
you feel it?
space
A
that
breach
that
in the warding
warding
whenever you
has
came
been
into the room?
breached.
Oh, yeah, I did it.
So whether you think you were seen or not, that's not necessarily the
Well, if
case.
that's the case, then... What is there another
I felt
ward
it when you
past the
guys
barrier of the
arrived,
doorway?
yes. I knew you had arrived
When it got me,
before
it
he
made me
even went
flicker
to
for a
answer the
brief
door.
second, and then
I sent him to answer the door.
it was fine,
Alright, well.
or possibly fine.
Past in the past, that's something we're on our way to effectively a courtroom, so rather than worrying about whether or not Shithead knew that you were in the room, I think we need to figure out what our game plan is for this.
Well, I thought we already covered it. We're not going to tell them that Hester murdered another primogen. We're not going to tell them that we set it on fire with her, knowingly with her down there, because that would look bad for Hestia. We're just basically going to leave out any details that would track specifically back to her. And this is a really nice car, Hestia. When was the last time it was cleaned? It's really nice.
Who in the car actually has heightened senses?
I'm a sense the unseen man.
Or a wit and awareness at 6 or higher?
Oh, hot damn. 6? No, that ain't me. Couldn't be me. Anyone else?
I'm only at 4.
No heightened senses in this group.
Uh-uh.
That's a very, very good thing. And look,
Mm.
okay, that is not a good thing for Hestia. It is a good thing for everyone else
No,
because
I
they
have heightened
don't have the
senses. It's just
opportunity
that I'm using
of
the Discord
knowing
app, so I'm
why
just
the
not
seats
having it
are
right
as
up on my
warm
little
as they
thing.
are.
But yeah, I have heightened senses.
It's off.
They don't have the opportunity of understanding what this vehicle has gone through and the things that stick to it. Not just the physical after effects of moments of joy shared, but the spiritual resonance that clings and sticks to the scent of the leather. It is, in fact, clean, but it is not sanitized. It is not stripped of all ethers and essences. There is a pall, a cloud of violent interactions towards mutual pleasure that sticks to the fabrics, that sticks to the ceiling above your head, that while not squelching in the carpet at your feet is definitely something you can imagine crawling slowly up over your shoes, boots, and past the ankle, slowly consuming even what you all are, locking you into the resonance of the vehicle. There are a million different ways to honor the dead. The previous owner or operator of the vehicle had a very passionate way of expressing her longing. And no one but Hestia understands or realizes that as you all make your way through late night Chicago traffic. Moving north from the Blackstone Library to the Harold Washington Library is a testament in the many tattered fabrics that make the cloth that is Chicago. Leaving the Blackstone Library, which was the hub of Hyde Park, it was the epicenter of upwardly mobile individuals who did not get pulled into Chatham or Roseland or Inglewood or New City or Canaryville or Bridgeport. It was the melting pot for the children of children who came from those areas looking for something better for themselves, either in education or just working in finances or otherwise finding that half a step up so that they can push their later generations forward through the American case system. So they go from showroom, floor room managers and ushers to full-fledged managers, store managers, partners, CEOs, CFOs, heads of foundations was their goal, to passing through areas where their goal was to keep employed, whatever it takes. Dishwasher, car salesman, car washer. You move through Bronzeville, where the artists found a conclave for themselves, where they built a semblance of community that was unfortunately in later generations all but wasted. Places where blues legends played on corners, bulldozed over. Places where poet laureates cut their teeth and lived their lives that watered the tears of their poems throughout the ages, boarded up and torn down. You move through those spaces, find your place to where the upcoming generation of tech industrialists and app builders and what have you have taken up residence in buildings that, for lack of a better word, look like Lego blocks put together. You move past the medical center here on the lake shore. You move past the burgeoning financial sectors and various other central business district minded individuals. And then you make that left heading west through the center of the loop, through downtown. To your north, just past it, is the Magnificent Mile where the tourists come and spend money that they don't have, where the locals come and spend status and acclaim that they can't afford. But that is miles north of where you are. Making your way west toward the Harold Washington Library, you get a chance to taste the very still vibrant edge of the business day. The businessmen and women in suits and skirts and t-shirts and blazers and all sorts of things that denote their status as hard-working, hard-partying members of corporate America. Melding in between them are the students of Columbia and Harold Washington City College and various other pay for diplomas and degrees and certificate colleges and universities that are spread throughout and sprinkled like pepper amongst the salt downtown. And there looming before you is the monster's castle, the dreaded domain of all sorts of things you wish to not have to experience again. Harold Washington Library. Its green patinaed roof, its wide, large windows lit from within, the sounds of orchestral music being played through its exterior speakers, letting everyone know that this is the center of knowledge and education. This is the place where you can find a way to get ahead, to shortcut the education system, to take that step forward, to plumb through the depths of mystery and find yourself and the world beyond. Harold Washington, the last non-daily great mayor of this burg, the only mayor assassinated in recent public memory. Even now, you'll hear people whisper and gossip, well, you know, my old man's old man, and so forth and so on, and this and that and the other. His legend carries on, even as his legacy has long since been actually erased. The yell overhead rumbling past, and the last time Hestia and Miriam were here, just at the edge of recognized sound for them. Question is, where do you park? There, of course, as is always the case, there's more than enough street side illegal parking. There's also a parking garage a block east, half a block north, and 2 blocks south of where you all are.
Oh, that's up to the driver.
So you park literally on the last block that quantifies as
I'm
east,
going to go for the closest parking garage, the one that's only a block over.
almost directly across the street, but still a block east of the Harold Washington Library. It is the last block that actually quantifies as east. Everything once you cross the street is officially west. State Street is literally 0 degrees east and west for the entirety of the Chicagoland area. The 0 degree north is Madison, which is several blocks north of where you are, but here is the last time until you leave, if you leave, that you will ever be on the east side of Chicago. As you all park, and the parking attendant is literally huge DJ style over the ear headphones, a book in one hand, the phone in the other, the thumb going as if it's getting an aerobic workout, and holding the book completely unaware as to who's entering and who's exiting.
Oh, fun.
And as you say that, under your breath, have not really pointing at anyone, you hear her, yo, you too, have a nice time. And back to her phone and her book.
Well, she's not paying attention. I guess I'll just kind of look around, be a bit confused as to where specifically the fuck I'm going. Kind of new to this place. Just tap Hestia on the shoulder and head gesture her forward as a kind of lead on.
So you're going to fight for
before we
her
leave
attention
parking
from her
garage,
book
I'm
and from
going
her
to
phone?
use submerge directive
Or do you have another way of reaching
on
her?
the parking attendant.
That was for Hestia?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. Here is this explosive. Submerge directive her to put it in the regent's
I
car
mean,
when he shows up.
I don't
Okay.
necessarily want to be an asshole about it, but I would rather the car still be there when I get back. So.
Oh my god, what?
No.
Hi!
So she's gonna do like a normal tap on the window.
Which is...
Hi. And then she will give her submerge directive.
You got this, ass. Master plan. Come on.
Sorry, I was looking for the dice pool. Something in dominate, I know that. But the submerge directive is what she pushes at the girl. She says,
Yeah, that's
"The
fine.
black
I'll keep an eye
car
on
on
her.
level 3 block."
And as
Six.
she goes turn back
You need to keep an
to
extra
her book
special eye on that.
in her phone, she pauses.
Nobody gets near it
She
except
looks...
for me.
And but a surprisingly quiet full 5 seconds taking you in. And then back to what she was doing.
And I give her my prettiest, harmless smile in return.
So as you all make your way across the street, past Van Buren, across Van Buren, crossing State Street, is there any last conversation that either of the four of you would like to have?
Okay. Possible escape plans, Hestia?
Let me ask you, Hestia, this might be an odd question, but do they still use computer security inside that building?
certain levels of it probably do, but the levels that we are usually taking over, probably not. As for an escape plan, I mean, we've already been called blood hunted once. We don't have the same ties as we did last time to get out of it.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays
But
out. Your documentation is fraught with
I
all
don't know.
kinds
I
of
think
you
this
should have
point,
died
if it happens
situations, so
again,
I'm
we're
not
just
that
gonna
worried.
I will throw myself on the mercy of the court and try to get you guys
Still.
excused and
It's a
get the
great
fuck out.
test here. We should be fine.
All right,
We'll
so
see how it
I guess omission is the way to go. Do you have any favors to pull? Any allies to call?
Every cat has 9 lives.
Have
And
Hefty.
then eventually. I had a favorite before.
I see.
All
right, well,
I've already called.
my
is already
ties with
aware
our
of the
organization here in
situation.
the city are
The only other person
wispy
I would love
at
to
best.
call in this
I
situation
haven't had time
was
to
killed
really
years ago,
root
so.
myself in there. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Moving back to Theo's question, she kind of thinks about it for a minute as they're getting. I mean, well, granted, like I said, they're mostly on non-kindred levels. There still are electronic passes and ID scanners and such getting into the building usually. I mean, it is on kind of like a college campus almost.
So here's the funny thing, and it's not all that funny. As you've all been speaking, conversing, plotting, planning, there has been not one word from Miriam. And while the saying is true that 3 can keep a secret if 2 are dead, you all are standing at the red light of State and Van Buren, preparing to cross the street and enter the Harold Washington Library. It has history. It has precedence. And as you all have so eloquently put it, the best you can hope for is to throw yourselves on the mercy of the court and hold true to your stance of omission without obvious direct lie. There was a saying, a quote passed down about the founding fathers and the foundation of this country. One of the things that Benjamin Franklin said, either we all hang together, or if not, we shall certainly all hang separately.
Oh, fun. Well, I am a big fan of the old Western hanging platforms, so I see you guys there.
Storyteller, Ghost in the Machine, does it require me to like sit in a place obvious while I'm working on it?
What do you mean? You are aware that Ghost in the Machine allows you to utilize your obfuscate for yourself under electronic surveillance.
Okay, so it's just basically essentially a focus shadows but with machines.
Correct.
Cool. I wasn't sure how it was worked. That's why I wanted to make sure I understood how it was worked in this iteration.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And I just I think at the very least verbally we've got everything squared away that we're gonna be able to really manage before we make it into a not so safe to speak zone. We have a general idea, and that general idea is don't say too much. Yeah.
Yes or
Let's
no
see how that.
answers only.
Yeah. We know it's funny, actually, and I think this is. Oh no.
So Ghosts of the Past and being caught mostly unawares about the travel here to what feels as if you are marching toward the gallows. With the plan having petered off in the background of your thoughts, Miriam, is there anything that you would like to add to this conversation as you stand here at the corner of Van Buren and State with the monolithic monstrosity that is the Harold Washington Library standing there before you?
Mostly she's just kind of lost in the past and like, please, no more possessions this time. That was an experience. Once is enough.
Oh, actually, now that Miriam is here, Aaron will try and get her attention and be like, "Hey, actually, on the note of not saying too much, you were in your lab the entire time. You didn't happen to tell your tale. Nobody passed through or anything. You didn't call nobody."
I was firmly isolated.
All right, just trying to double check. Theo, same with you. No speaky.
Who would I tell?
I don't know who it is you get in contact with. Which is honestly a little bit disconcerting. I think I need to look into that.
I hang out with you guys. Why would I deal with anyone else?
Alright. Well, wish us all luck. Miriam, you've got a little bit of a I've seen a ghost kind of look on your face, so I'm hoping that whatever it is you're imagining doesn't come to pass. This is not my first time in a courtroom, so just keep calm and carry on. Worst case scenario, well, we won't really need to worry about anything after the worst case scenario.
Not particularly. Not particularly.
So, with all of the stiff upper lip of the best of the idealized British aristocracy, you all move forward across the street and into the building. There is, of course, a gala of sorts happening on the first and second and third floors. You all mix and mingle and move through as if you all belong, as if this place is yours, which in essence it is, because the moment that you hit the escalator past the third floor, there is a pall of silence there on the fourth. And as you move on to the fifth, there's even more so. All of the hustle and bustle and public spectacle that is happening below. You know that the security moves from theatrical there and their bright burgundy blazers and gray slacks to form-fitting, tailored black on white suits to from the theatricality of the handheld walkies to earpieces and clearly packing in concealed holsters. From the rent-a-wreck security officers that are normally employed by the library to private security who could tell you what you had for breakfast if you ate simply by looking at the wall. It's your lack of blushing, your lack of rousing and risking the strength of the beast to be as you are, standing out as you are, that allows you passage. It is the cost and price of admission. And as you all make your way further up, as per usual, exiting the escalator on the upper floors, that same pristine resonance begins thrumming along your skin. A little known and constantly understood without spoken of fact of the kindred is that so many predators, so many monsters in one place at one time changes and alters the room sounds. Even if you'd been here countless 100 times before, it does not feel as electric as it does now. Even if you all spent years researching in these stacks, this, that, and the other, looking at the microfiche or what have you, as lively as it is during the day, as lively as it is on the first 3 floors tonight, nothing compares to the sheer weight of that static tingle of power thrumming along the skin.
Just kind of does the whole slight shimmy roll of the shoulders to get used to the goosebumps crawling up him.
I'd like to say that it gets easier, that you adapt and adjust to that neurological interference of realizing that you are amongst larger and other predators, but it does not. It in fact gets considerably worse. The professor himself, his bald pate turtleneck and caramel smooth velvety blazered self, greets you at the mouth of the escalator. Asked you. Oh. You found another. And he looks directly at Theo. I thought you had found a betterment for yourself, but I see that you... Very well.
Theo grabs a book off the shelf.
It is always a good thing watching the monkeys mimic mankind. Your regent is waiting for you there, and he points towards one of the private study rooms. The doors closed, and the sounds from here, where there are clearly other kindred present, which can be considerably less. I believe he's waiting for the entirety of your reconfigured self. I'm sure he was hoping for better, but...
Theo looks at Hestia. He talking to you? And then he starts walking forward.
Of course, she's the only one who can understand English. One day you'll manage it.
That is correct. Hi. He keeps walking.
This is why I hate going to centers. Alright, well, it was a pleasure meeting you. Sorry that this meeting's gonna be so short. Have a lovely night. Unless we see each other again.
Of course.
And Hess is asking who this is. She unfortunately missed it. Use it in character. Use it in character, Hess. Ask him who he is.
Yeah, there's a reason it's just taking it, because this is the one person outside of maybe DuSable that she probably wouldn't directly attempt to fuck with, despite the fact of them having much interactions. He's probably like the angry father-in-law
Oh, this is
when you've broken up with somebody. So that's kind of like the
when you called him the
in
professor.
this
I didn't
moment.
quite reckon
Hess
it.
just kind of looks at
All right,
him.
yeah, no.
Thank you, Curtis.
Fuck this
And
guy.
then goes to sit where she was told to sit.
I have exactly one adversary on my sheet.
Right?
Maybe.
I say you give him what for? Give him an uppercut. That'll show him.
Oh yeah, no. Don't worry. I'm sure at some point tonight, that will come about. But that's very much why Aaron was like, once again, Kindred Society is showing itself to be a pain in my ass. See you later.
I'm pretty okay with that. On the hall.
But they're
He
kind
is.
of silent.
He is
so
significantly far enough
Finally?
from where you all are
kind of looks around and then
stored.
again checks outside the door to make sure he's walked away.
Okay.
She ducks her head back in and looks at the rest of them. That man killed several gangrels in Elysium, in defense of Elysium, and got away with it.
Given
He also
his
teaches
demeanor,
the course
very
on
few.
how to be a proper member of Kindred Society. See how many people have actually graduated that course,
What a shame.
and why they don't graduate that course. Very few.
Well,
And he eats
well,
the
I
ones
mean,
that don't.
Do you want to
Right.
check him? Garcia?
he's on the list. He's been an obstruction since
And
I
again,
returned to
yet
the
he is
city.
still here. Nobody
Kind of
fucking
looks
checks
around,
him,
just
so.
like, oh, fuck, wait a minute. Elysium. There are problems. He called him a monkey. He's
Not racist, just antiquated.
How about we
as
throw
hell.
you at him, Theo? He seems to
How
like
is-
you a lot.
Just
There's
antiquated
another
as fuck.
thing
That's
about
all.
it. Well, see, that's the thing
Well,
about
suffice to
Critias. He is
say,
very
if
much
he's going to be a
racist and
problem,
sexist.
we'll find a
He
solution.
is from a time in which women
Regardless,
were
he's
We'll put
lower
in
than
front of
dirt.
the
dodged
Xbox.
justice for far, far too long.
Just
We'll put him
checking,
in
is
front
my
of
mic
a
working now?
Galaxy X and
We
he'll
can
figure
hear
it
you.
out.
It is.
What are you saying, Theo?
I said we could put him in front of modern technology and leave while he tries to figure it out.
I'm always enthused by your humor.
Hess busts out laughing, remembering the time that
No good memories, I see.
Critias had to work Lucio's phone to call them about trouble. And just she doesn't want to find it so hilarious, but it's funny.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Let's just say he's one of those.
One
How
would
does
have
the
to be in
little
order to
men
dodge
get
a bullet
inside
that
the
often.
talking picture box sort?
Or a steak in our case.
But other than that, he's incredibly
Well,
intelligent. So it's kind of a weird juxtaposition. But let's just say I am used to now being who I am, having men challenge me constantly over my
well,
And of
place in this
course,
society
let's
and my
not
place in
forget the
society in general. So
don't
if
be
I got
so
mad at
emotional,
every
dear.
man who said, "You don't belong here. You're too
that's kind of
stupid.
what you
You're a
run
girl.
into
Oh
when
my
half
god."
of the power structure is people
I'd
who
have
are
a
over
headache
100 years old.
and constantly fighting.
Or even less than 20.
Only half are
Gotcha.
over 100 years old. That is a very low estimation. Says Dusabo, entering almost perfectly silently. The door itself seeming to obey his command for silence. It slips in and closes the door behind him. Closing the door behind him means that he closes the door in Julius's face. Mr. Fairmont, the bodyguard to the Region of Regions. Julius Fairmont, the former member of the shelter. Julius Fairmont, who still bears aggravated wounds from the last time the shelter decided to point their anger in his general direction.
I'd say half is a good estimate. The other half are people for whom age doesn't really apply
That makes
anymore.
her smile because she likes it. Usually, it's on
That
site with Julius.
I
Usually.
can endorse. Thank you all for agreeing to meet me at such a troubled time. Hashid, there are matters that we need to discuss separately, but not now. The hope was that you would bring your reconstituted hound, the shelter, with you. There seems to be some disturbance amongst the council, and I know you individually and together might be able to solve it.
This is what I have left. Miriam is the only other original member of the Hounds. Aaron, she points to Aaron.
So
has
he's a
become more
probationary
recent
member,
friend.
and
I have lost
Aaron,
Lucio. I
as
don't
a
know
member
where
of the
he's
Ashira,
gone
is
to.
a lone member
Theo
of your
is
joint task
an
force.
acquaintance I am recently
Damien
getting to
has
know, but he is not a hound.
placed a certain amount of value
So this
in
is what
the
I have.
idea that the shelter is still in operation. In fact, he's, I hate to say this, perhaps over-leveraged himself in regards to protecting the legacy of what you all managed to stir up. The recent disappearance of Primogen Hernandez, the recent fire in West Town, and, well, several other Duskborn activities taking place, he was hoping that the rumor of your operation see certain things through. No, probably not.
This was meant to be
You all are
a
aware as
favor
to
received.
some of the news
and
coming
a
out of Milwaukee,
final
correct?
tapping of our duties, but it seems that is not the way things are going.
We'll need to be more
Mm,
specific.
We've been a little bit busy.
The Hakata sponsored competitor are
No,
blend of vitae that is palatable to nearly every kindred. It's no, it is called, of all things, it is called the brew.
Miriam will look over at
so that's not
Hestia.
just the
It's
room.
like, didn't Sophia say her mom was in charge out there?
Yes, and that's probably why this all happened. Is so they
Yes,
can't
Brew's a
stand
little
you.
bland, isn't it?
So if she could find a way,
palatable,
possibly
innocuous.
fuck over
It
Sophia
disappears amongst the other several
and
thousand
everybody
other
that's tied to her. I'm
flavors
sure
of
she took it.
alcohol that are being offered. It is able to be transported across state lines. It is able to ensconced upon and behind several lower quality and lower station pubs throughout the area. I'm understanding that it has reached as far south as New Orleans. But for all of its potential trouble, that is not the reason why Milwaukee is on our tongues presently. A few years ago, the Toreador Primogen, Louis Deltonas, entered into torpor. It was sure that if he was aroused, that he'd once more resume his position as Toreador of Milwaukee. 10 months ago, after you all ushered in the death of Urzuli, he arrived in the city, and we assumed that he would challenge Annabelle. Instead, he has backed Brett Stryker as Harvey. And with that, he pauses and moves towards the door, leaning his cane against it before moving away once more. Now that we have a measure of privacy, we're sure that there aren't any other ears present. Deltona's backing Stryker is no real large issue, save for there are ties between Deltonas and the Manilean cult leader. There are ties between Deltonas and one of the known advisors to the Manilean cult leader. Our only connection with the Manilean cult leader is Cameron Orm acting as his advisor. I am aware the problem with this, and what we would discuss later, this very much seems to be a false flag campaign. Deltonas is
You know what Brett asked us to do.
purportedly behind doors and underneath whispers, propping the Menelaeans and cult of Helena up to provide a success, a victory to Stryker. As a harpy, he is not quite keeper of Elysium. He is merely one of the advisors to and assistant to. With the success of bringing the entirety of the Baham under his purview, driving out all of the other competitors to his position, he would be the key of Elysium. You understand what that means for each of you and for the Tremere as a whole.
Not quite.
Your private club, Miriam, your guest list, would be devalued, you would be next on his list. Your sanctity and security of the shelter has, and by extension, a weakness for the Chantry would be on his list. Your ties and representation of the Ashira would be on his list. He is calculating and just smart enough. And you, Theo, without kissing the ring, or more specifically, another appendage, your position would either be swallowed or divested of existence. You are not beneath Mr. Orm's notice. In fact, information brokers up and down the spectrum have been tasked with whom the mysterious dark individual stalking Hestia might be.
We just let them know that I'm a dark stalker stalking Hestia and leave it at that?
It's never
Take
that
that.
easy.
Yes, what does Mr. Monk have to manipulate you into allowing him to keep tabs on you? What information might he have compiled?
Because they're going to question why I
What
haven't
backdoor
disappeared.
access might he have to? And
I
from
know how to
you,
fix a 1960s vehicle.
I'm glad you're taking this as seriously as this.
I'm glad somebody else is finding umbrage with it. Okay.
So you understand that this is a pincer operation, Hestia. You need to find a way to weaken those cults to fulfill your end of the bargain without granting complete success to Stryker. The meeting this evening is to find a replacement for Primogen Hernandez, a pro tem replacement for Primogen Hernandez. The rumors being that, like many Gangrel, she is taken elsewhere. The first name on the list, I know you all will not find amenable, but it is in fact Tyrus of the Wolf Pack.
Can I ask who his contenders are?
For the gang group, presently? Even worse, Entheus, the only other gang group in the city.
Oh, great.
They're taking out their base of operations with fire, and
No,
Me-
several of their
Miriam
locations.
is going to
Could
just
have been
laugh. It's
enough
like,
of us
if you think
willing
that was
to
their
load to at
base
least
of
the wings,
operations,
but
nah,
where the
it was a
Minilands
satellite.
haven't been touched yet. Is there any way?
and like a
Yeah,
pile
so-
of rocks crashing down on you all, there is that understanding. While Theo is well aware as to what was happening in the basement, putting 1 and 1 together to get 2 is easy enough, but realizing that 1 and 1 makes 11 is another matter entirely. Who has either streetwise, subterfuge, or etiquette at 2 dots or higher?
That'll be me.
Yeah,
Yes.
2 dots.
Alright.
Subterfuge, 2 dots.
Sounds like most of us. Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
all of us.
Okay, so barring Theo actually informing everyone. What you all would realize
He
with
did. He actually told everyone.
told everyone what?
All three of them are
What
doing
happened downstairs up until the point that they came down the stairs. He actually
Which
told
was?
them everything that down there was a Nosferatu and a satellite group of Nosferatu. They were feeding on people. They led those people through a basement, an entryway downstairs in the basement, and that's where we were going to go. And then, as soon as the door opened, the bats came out, and so we never actually went back down that way because of the whole bats thing. But they know that there is he even went so far as to describe them, or her, and that there was 3 other people down there, and that they led them into a sub room, into that basement, a sub room of that room in the basement. However, when we opened the door, there was bats, so he couldn't go that way.
Okay, so a bunch of Nosferatu fed upon people and then walked them into that room,
Yes.
and that very same room, when we attempted to access it, bust open with demon bats.
Yeah.
Alright,
Do you
so
think maybe the difference was that it was broken into versus just opened normally?
I don't know. Alright, so at least from the information Theo has, and I apologize for not, like, being aware that you had told us up until this point, Theo, but at least from what the information Theo has told us, the coterie should be aware of a Nosferatu element working with the Bahari here.
Yeah.
That shouldn't surprise anyone either.
No, we did see the painted lady there.
Yes, but the painted
He did.
but the painted lady left.
Yeah, but do Nosferatu ever really leave?
I mean, sure, they leave eyes behind, but still, should not surprise anyone.
Is there any other facet or detail that may or may not have appeared to Theo that might come?
Potentially, those sacrifices, they may have been. The way that it looked was kind of sexual, but maybe they were testing the quality of the blood. Or either that or they were just getting their rocks off. I'm not really sure.
Why can't it be both?
Could be, definitely, because those that failed kind of look drained and tired and gross. They look tired and stuff, but then they let them into the room, which somehow became vampire bats.
Alright, did they look tired or did they look sick?
Seven of one, 8 of the other.
No, it makes a difference.
Not sick as in Miriam, but they look drained, but not like good drained.
What did they?
But like drained.
What did they say exactly?
Okay, like how somebody looks after you bite them drained.
Or like if you hooked into an electric socket and stung them a few times. Drained.
Theo, can you please come back? I don't know why you're just wandering off in the middle of a conversation. That is not interesting enough. He just points at whatever Theo is fiddling with. That is not interesting enough to warrant your attention right now.
I would say drained, as in like they sucked the blood out and left. Not like if you were done by a toreador, More like if you're done by Hakata.
Okay.
So insides liquefied and sucked out as well, kind of like mosquitoes do to their prey. Or spiders,
spider-
rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, something along those lines. I mean, it was still mobile, but they were still mobile, but they were just like they wasn't gonna live for long.
What were you saying, Hesher?
It's also hard to tell because there are bits and pieces. It was also harder to tell because when we busted down the door, after he told us what was behind the door, they were in bits and pieces, like somebody was trying to get rid of the evidence.
Yeah, but only if
Which
you're
is
up on
also
2 legs.
probably why the bats were let loose. Because they eat
That's true. If you're not on
They-
2 legs, they might not
and get
eat
rid of evidence and chase out anybody who might
Storyteller,
investigate
has he
further.
missed any other detail that he should be aware of?
There's considerable information that may or may not have been invested. With your 2 dots in etiquette and your understanding of kindred society, each of you have a picture in your head as to what may be the underlying of it all. There are several layers at play at once.
Hey, Hess, do you happen to know who Lucio's contact was, where he would get his blood from?
I believe there was a Jewish guy with a missing finger. But then there was also that one chick. Shoot. Wish I remembered her name. She had a
Because
theater.
I might have some questions for her related.
and,
We'll put a pin in that for now.
Fairly powerful.
The-
I'll try to think of it.
Did, and Miriam will turn to Decibel. Did Hestia happen to tell you about the bats beyond them being bats?
What do you mean? Being beyond bats.
So they're plague carriers?
Oh, but would Hestia had gotten the information from Theo where they would be most likely attacking? Because
Yeah,
that's what
Hestia
we
would have told him all of that.
to give Hestia.
Oh.
Which, yes. That's the reason why the several nudges towards, is there anything else you all would like to discuss on the way here?
Oh,
We hadn't gotten to that yet because when you guys got to the chain trade,
we forgot.
we were having that other issue.
Item that we were trying to give you, but I forgot to give it to you. Here.
The science behind it doesn't make any sense. I can't figure it out. The skin's clearly infected.
You're dead. You cannot continue to be affected. And Hestia survived the bleeding, the leeching away of all of the potentially infected Vitae so that she came out the other side. And he motions towards her. Non-contagion.
Hmm. I'll have to keep that in mind. But no, the samples, and she'll like pull her shirt over her shoulder just a little bit. Yeah, this isn't normal. I can't find a scientific reason for it. But the infection's there.
Because it's not scientific. There's no science to it, though there may be some great science to it. The powers of the blood change the living. If enough changes are carried out over a successive generation, occasionally those affected are able to pass on their fall vampirism through the same manner of infection as their living counterparts are able to pass on and procreate. The exchange of fluids, the mixing of genetic material, and if I'm not mistaken, and he takes a half a step back, you are virulently contagious. Right now, the residual Vitae, those beasts, are attempting to multiply and infect your system. Luckily, you're nominally immortal like the rest of us kindred. And the only thing you might be able to do is just pass it along to whomever you might feed upon.
You're quite knowledgeable. Do you know how to stamp that out?
He looks toward Hestia. Do we?
It is a very arduous process
No.
and would require
Regardless
both
of the requirements,
babysitting
it seems
and
necessary.
safe measures.
Oh,
Right.
and
I would rather not kill more
It's
people than necessary.
It's painful and arduous to get rid of it entirely.
Rather not kill anyone at all.
I had help,
But
obviously.
this seems to be preventable.
Oh, and Hess, next time we have a moment, I have some context that might help illuminate.
Okay. So basically, we have a triangulation. What I'm guessing is where these bats might be, but that's not the biggest and pressing problem at the moment. The other things that you came in here to talk to us about are we need to stop Stryker without directly looking like we're stopping Stryker by crippling the Menelaans without succeeding too greatly.
Yes.
And
And your blood
nipping
debt
in the
to
bud the last
the
of those that got
Nosferatu.
away. Correct.
You know, the more I think about it, you're right. It was that they were testing it for something. Go on. I'm sorry. Mentally was somewhere else.
It happens.
Clearly.
Wait, what?
All right. And you were saying, sir, about this blood debt?
Years
doesn't-
ago, the primogen of what was at that time a simple protectorate, which just grown into a township, officially part of the tower now. Sent an agent provocateur to find out the strengths and weaknesses of the shelter, of the hounds, the protectors of our traditions. That agent provocateur sent by their primogen never returned. The new primogen of Thornton Township is at this very moment pressing claim against the shelter specifically that's old. I can stave them off if me and Damien align our forces. But for him to be successful and for me to be successful, you need to handicap Striker by bringing down them in the land so that we can force him to at least nominally join forces with us. Otherwise, Prince Voavad Albu will press his claim, and you all will either offer your servitude or potentially a life debt.
Aaron just kind of leaning up against the nearest object while he's listening to this, just raises an eyebrow and looks at Esty and just goes, I didn't know when I signed up with you, I signed up to eventually be stuck in a servitude to some foreign prince.
I mean, he's not really foreign. He's blood.
He's not from this one.
Miriam is just gonna look super frustrated. It's like, I wanted to keep things small, but I suppose I could start siphoning people. Grow the den.
Well, here's the funny thing is, because of your den, because of your elite invitation list, you're one of the many loggerheads keeping Striker from being as successful at his own machinations. You, unfortunately, are also one of the many targets of Felix Calixte, the advisor to the Hakata Pater of Chicago, who, to put it mildly, is in fact very petty.
Right.
From the sounds of it, there's a lot of people that you needed dead who ain't dead, Estia.
Starting to think the Hestia be slacking on their Mac, and a whole lot of people need to be disappeared, and they're not disappearing.
I think
in fact,
Theo,
Miriam
it's more
is
like
give him a similar look.
I think it's more of a to-do list, Theo. It's kind of like a one task, then the next kind of situation.
He looks at you, Sabo, like,
Descending
"You
order of
see what I
operations,
have
there we
to
go."
work with."
I wish you all luck, but you're going to need more than that. You're going to need, well, everything
Support.
you might be able to bring to bear. We will forestall the political agents amassing against you as long as we can. And while it is of no real importance, after all, it is just another average Thursday in Chicago. It's not as if right at this very moment in Logan Square there isn't a meeting happening of several highbrow, high-minded individuals in what was formerly Ginghis's hidden haven. It's not as if right at this very moment, at the best of intention on North Balding and Armitage, There isn't a group of individuals tempting fate, tempting their beast, and communing religiously. And he moves towards the door, picking up his cane.
Just kind of nods, and
I
once
will
the door closes
walk
and they
you
leave,
part of the way.
looks over to Miriam.
You guys.
So
Stay
I'm
here.
guessing the two locations he just listed off will be on
And
our
then she kinda
go-to
catches up
list
with
after
this
we're done
elbow.
here.
Yeah.
No, that they're not there.
I got the best of intentions. Anybody remember the name of that specific square?
Logan,
Logan
I think it
Square,
was.
but there's nothing
Logan
there.
Square. All right, I'll write that down on my little notebook here.
Yes, it's Logan Square, but there's nothing happening there because that's what he said.
Thought he said there was a meeting going down. What are you?
No, he said there's not like
Not-
there's a meeting.
Okay, Theo.
Right.
I appreciate you so much.
Nomenclature.
Hey, you know that thing that I said you shouldn't fiddle around? You know, it's perfectly fine to go fiddle around with that right now.
Okay.
Don't break it.
Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity and academics, Theo? Your DC is 3, by the way. And while that is happening, as you escort the Regent of Regents out of the private little room you all are occupying, Hester, he pulls you up short the very moment the door closes, leaning forward on his cane. Do you remember the threat that you believed you and Lucio were making in regards to my purported childhood? Remember I informed you that you all didn't know what you asserting.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yes, you were not the only. You were somehow overheard. I've taken steps to remove that potential threat,
To remember
but it
that
is
we
in
left that
fact a
particular
threat.
thing.
Someone else is
Thread.
prying
Speak.
into that particular path of thought, and they will unravel everything that you and I have built for the Tremere over the last few years. We need to find whom is prying and remove their prying eye. I can't move against them directly because I am being watched. And with that, he turns and smiles. It's always a pleasure to see you, Hestia. Thank you for delivering that message. I will get back to the meeting now. You enjoy your evening.
He tries to smile and play along, but that one extra straw balancing on the camel's back right now has got the legs wobbling.
Does anyone have Sense
Indefinitely.
the Unseen up right now?
Always,
Turning
baby.
to you.
Always.
Okay.
Only the
Maybe that is
passiveness that it likes to
unscathed. I
be.
guess we should be on our way.
Okay. Would both of you be so kind to go ahead and roll your wits plus insight? You need 3 or higher to not be swept along.
Alright. Use current. Difficulty 3. Let's go, baby! Uh-oh. Fuck. Not even my bot knows which character I'm playing. Fuck! Success!
I'm anxious to take half because my dice pool is 7.
You know what? We will, as Mills Lanes likes to say, and in the doing, you are able to withstand Theo as a tech-minded individual. There are certain things that stand out to you. You can almost feel the electricity of it. And as you lift the Pan-African sculpture with the book leaning against it, breaking it is the least of your concerns because that may be the only way to find out why this feels electric to you. And while you barely restrain the urge to let it drop from your fingertips to smash against the floor, as you're turning it this way and that, trying to find, and there are no wires, yet there's something drawing your focus, like something snapping just at the periphery of your vision, and you're restraining the inclination just to drop it. You've swallowed it back and tamped it down, paved it over, and you're not going to drop it. The door opens and Hesha says, "Well, that," and it slips from your fingers, crashing against the marble floor beneath you. In the doing, several dice, several small six-sided dice-sized lots made of bone come tumbling out. The shards of earthenware that had been hiding them shatters in several score of dozens of pieces. The sound of it echoing off the walls and those lots striking the marble floor conflate into the absolute perfect note to literally wake the dead. And while you are looking at the mess, and while Heshia's eyes is immediately drawn to the shattered earthenware and the bone lots that come tumbling out of them, Aaron and Miriam would stand the shock wave of energy released. It is a deathly pale reverberation from the other side. You all don't have the academic understanding of the occult to put words to it, but if you were, you would see it as the binding fetters of some soul being cut. The connection they have to this place and their connection to what little control dissipating, like an uncaged lion who had been waiting for just the right moment to pounce, is what you all would stand. You don't break down crying. There's no emotive immediacy to that feeling. But in your soul, there's a quavering because you are able to exalt in that exaltation of freedom and also feel the immediate threat of that soul being unleashed.
God damn it, Theo, what the fuck did you just do?
Because clearly what I had to do today was come here and get possessed again.
Okay, just get away from it. Hess, we've got places to be, things to do, yeah? Whatever that was,
Yes,
not good.
Looks at Miriam because she
We need to
understood what the
mosey
fuck
on.
that meant. Looks at the floor, and then Vanessa looks at me. Oh, shit.
Miriam, Miriam's usually composed. She's looking a little pissed off right now. Just walks out the door.
Go.
Um,
Go.
Just kind of.
Cassia? Cassia? With this being broken, would you say theoretically
Corporate five of her
that it's not working
spins
anymore,
to look
right?
at Theo,
Magic
her
is
little
not my
eye
thing.
twitching on one
so
side.
with it
Yeah.
being smashed into little bits, would you say that not working?
I would definitely say it's not fucking working anymore, Theo.
Okay.
From down the
a tech
hallway.
standpoint,
Miriam will just be like, basically, Elvis has left the building, and so am I.
Yeah, no, come on. You gotta cuffs Theo on the back of the head. Let's get moving. Come on, we gotta get out of here.
I think that all the conversations that happened in that room were being monitored.
I don't fucking know if it was being monitored or not. Probably is. This is an Elysium. There are ears on literally every corner. Either way, whatever that was, you just let it off its leash. And if it's pissed, I don't want to be at ground zero.
What's the worst that could happen?
Well,
Okay, Hess has an occult of 4 and an academics of 2.
there
With those
were
two behind,
mysterious
would she know
dice,
whether it's murdered
which
to
are what
take
lots
to pieces
were, made of bone,
or what?
inside an earthenware reliquary, inside the gathering places of ancient monsters.
Cursing softly, she will take a small pouch out of one of her inner pockets that she would normally use for spell
Just kind of, the moment
spell
he sees
essentials or
her
spell
pull the
pieces.
small bag
This one's
out,
empty
he's
because
going to turn
hasn't
his head
filled it with
away from
anything.
watching her
she's going to
explicitly
stuff
do
the
this.
dice carefully
Because he knows that if he
into the
sees
bag,
her
tie the bag,
steal
and put it
this,
back in her pocket.
whatever the fuck this is from the building, he's gonna have to report it. But if he technically doesn't see it, all's well in the world.
Yes. Nominally.
Nominally. Omission is my subterfuge specialty.
Which is a great thing for you. It may not be a great thing for you all in the grand scheme of things, but in this particular moment, it is a great thing for you because there are several questions that dance along the tip of everyone's tongue that doesn't quite materialize in the way that words normally do. There are the feelings, there's the understanding, yet in between that is the fact that somehow Theo found him.
Mm-hmm.
There's somehow that, and he is positive that whatever was there, there's the fact, there's the assumption. Somewhere in the middle of that is the truth that you all now inhabit. As you all make your way out of the library as quickly as you possibly can, following Miriam's lead and heading down the escalators 2 and 3 at a time to get free of this, there is a immediate question. You all broke something in an Elysium. Because guilt by association is very much one of the many foundations of don't get caught. It also means who you're associating with shouldn't be caught either, unless of course it's because you turned them in. Not one person came running. Not one of the harpies, keepers, security agents, Primogen, or anyone else present came running. It's like the doors of a jail cell closing. Tourists, drunks, don't consider it anything. Oh well, I'm locked up for the weekend. I'll make bail. I'll be out. those who are powerful don't consider being in jail anything. The doors slam, okay, fine, I'll get out the weekend or I'll bond out or what have you. Those who have been in prison, those who have been inside the actual prison, not just the jail, know that once those doors close, you personally have to kill your hope. Otherwise, one night when the heat's not working, one night when the blankets don't keep you, one night when you've dealt with one too many images and stories that overwhelm you, that hope of having that door open again will crawl up out of the dark and literally gut you to the core of your being. And if you don't kill your hope when that door closes, it will very well kill you. You will not be anywhere near the same semblance of a person you were before that door closed if you don't. And unfortunately for you all, as kindred, you've not only been to the penitentiary, you exist there in your forever night, because just as free as it is, there are rules written by hands long since past, mattering the day in and day out of the modern world, that will make and break everything that you are. No one came to investigate. No one came running. The doors closed. There's a before and there's an after. And right now, you are firmly in the after. Not sure what that might mean. So as you all make your way across State Street with the later evening traffic, it is 8 after the hour. Let's return at 18 after.
This should be your thumbnail.
Yeah, I'm keeping this. This is mine now.
That sounds appropriate. There's a weight that most people don't realize behind the words that we say. And one of the most crushing things to pass down to our children, our nieces, nephews, cousins, have you, is you have so much potential. And that is what Theo, in this moment, amidst everything else, has provided for the shelter. So very much potential.
Yeah, definitely. You know, some would say we just gotta roll the dice and see what happens.
It's so much more than that. It's almost as if fate conspired to reveal a portion of its hand. It's the playing cards with someone who puts all of their cards on the table face up, and while they haven't said a God blessed word, looking at their hand, you see just how much decimation is possible, but you're unsure in how quickly or in what value they'll place what they have before them.
Absolutely.
In the matter of moments, the shelter went from having a clear-cut target to realizing they were looking at things in reverse. They are, in fact, the target of so many others.
We're on the offensive, but didn't realize how much we needed to be on the defensive.
And mixing and mingling with all of that is the weight of the past. Decisions, conversation, moments had, and things unsaid. You all are literally in this moment realizing in all of the many ways, in the preparation leading up to this space and time, how many things and in what volume are missing. Because if you knew or had the opportunity of heading it off at the chase, of getting ahead of Felix and plotting against you, of getting ahead of whatever machinations are happening between Shira and the tower, and getting ahead of the innumerable kindred connected with and tied to the circulatory system, the blood trade of the area. If you all had the opportunity of knowing what might lie at stake in the involvement of the gang group, if you all knew in advance what alienating certain members, Primogen, might actually measure out and weigh, how might your decision, how might you have altered your step and your tread? But, as they say, there's no sense in crying over spilled milk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or shattered urns.
Reliquaries holding so much. I mean, there wasn't any foreshadowing that the Tremere and all of their spooky ties to the spiritual world and all of the mystical and magical things might be connected with any particular location, right?
Right, it's totally fine.
Yeah, totally.
Apparently, Miriam just needs to bite the bullet and become a coldunist. It's fine.
Have we decided where we're going?
No, not quite yet.
Or what?
Logan Square sounds good.
What
Or
we're
we could
going
go
to
get some.
exactly do when we get there.
Or since Hestia he likes you better, you could call. You could place a call for me and tell Damien that about the bats. Yes.
Damien is already aware of the bat. Do you mean telling him where you know that they are roosting?
That would be cool. And I had an idea, but Aaron and Miriam shot it down. So,
I don't
But,
need to call him for
you
that.
know.
I can let him.
Thank you.
I thought it was a
You
good
have
idea.
no idea.
I personally thought it was a good idea, but they shot it down.
Sounds
So,
absolutely intelligent of them.
and
to
I'm
do so.
outvoted 2-1 already. So,
I mean, feel free to tell Hestia what your thought was, but
It was definitely
Okay.
one of the most thought out things I've ever heard come out of your mouth.
remember how we were told that we needed to kind of circle and wound the people over in Logan Square without actually being actively involved in doing it, right? So,
No, the thing is, we have permission as part of the plan originally from Brett himself to, she says, quotation mark, get rid of the Menelaeans. What we were told is to do so in a way
What
that
I'm
does not
thinking is we
remove
take
them
some of those bats,
from
right?
his way completely,
And we
so that
infect
he
it
has
in
to
Lance.
either admit that he has
Miriam
ties
just
or
looks at
throw his blood
Hestia,
in
and
his
Hestia knows
tower as he's
that
supposed
look.
But he wouldn't be able to use them. We wouldn't be directly involved with it, so they couldn't blame us. And
Look, if
they
you want to
would
play
be out of
animal control, I'll
commission
get
for
your
the
ass a
most part
net and
because they
set you
can't
free.
hunt.
Okay, but we're
Nor
not
can they
gonna.
do anything without passing along the toxin. So they would be off the table.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Who's gonna tell them that they're infected with a toxin?
Now, does that scratch on your back itch? Or is it otherwise noticeable?
It's just unsightly. It's not like there's big pustules or, infection lines running. No, it's a scratch that's just not healing.
And they wouldn't know, but they would know something's wrong. And there lies the problem. The genius of the plan. They would know something's wrong and be powerless to do anything about it.
It's a great plan. Say there's one
It's not a
particular
great plan.
tactic. It is a great plan, and great for what outcome is entirely 100% perhaps off the mark. However, here's the consideration as you're speaking, Theo, that pops into your head. Yes, they know something was off, and as a kindred, as a member of the undead community, the only thing that ever makes you feel anything better is the act of feeding. Kiss itself. With the kiss, you can withstand all sorts of discomfiture. You can tolerate all sorts of inherent, accidental, and purposeful disrespects. You've watched the kiss make completely diametrically opposed kindred able to tolerate each other in close proximity. So feeling uncomfortable, feeling disturbed, feeling bothered. What do you believe, with your understanding of the kiss, how it works for kindred, would be their first course of action?
Well, here's the thing. Are the Midlands supposedly known for their renown to not feed us up and not to do harm except when absolutely necessary?
Are they known for that, or are they just known as sticks in the mud? Have you had the opportunity of sitting down and speaking?
Well, I'm sure that considering the information that Hestia, Aaron, and the rest of them have gathered, and I've just kind of been in the background watching.
Okay. So you know that they have a phenomenal amount of nerve. So how virulent do you think they would be by the time they actually broke down and decided to sing Fang?
Yeah, that's the best part.
What?
It's not necessarily in the whole watch the world burn sort of way, but they would be very virulent by the time they broke down and couldn't take it anymore and fed only to kill their victims.
Okay, and we don't want them biting anyone, especially when they're incredibly virulent.
They bite
Right?
each other.
No.
Sorry. What?
You're not getting it, are you? You're not getting the fact that by turning them into plague monsters, you would be putting the whole of Chicago and the surrounding areas in danger, not just for those specific
Ooh, talk dirty to
kindred
Master.
feeding,
Okay,
but
fine.
for
What plan
all
do you guys
kindreds
have
who
then?
need to feed, because there would be no clean
Oh
blood
my
anywhere
god.
for anybody,
I'm gonna be perfectly honest here
including
with you.
you.
I think I've been more focused on trying to talk you out of doing something stupid than coming up with one on myself. At this point, are we relatively isolated? Like, what is our surroundings? I know you
Well,
said we're walking out of the building.
yes, you're walking towards your parking garage where you park your vehicle.
Okay. All right. So, recap. What do we know of the Middlelands, and how their shit worked? Their structure, their ideology, all that good shit.
We could probably discuss that in the car on the way to Logan.
Yeah, I should
Square,
probably do
since that
something
seems
about
to be
this
where we're
infection of
going.
mine too.
I still have the small problem of
Is
being
the
able
blood
to
in your
Miriam have
liquor?
resurrect
Doesn't
my
Miriam have a
Maui.
lovely potent vitae?
Apparently, my blood's not quite thick enough.
No, she doesn't.
Are you sure? Have you tried?
I mean, it could be, but she's also animally against infecting anyone, so things. Isn't that the point?
Eventually, only if they get to a level of premise, you know how.
See, this is some bullshit.
Well, yeah, you want as much
Storyteller
tie-in
gives
as
you a
possible. And
Maui
though,
and
just
then
because
keeps
it's an
trying to
idea
kill
doesn't
them.
mean that was purposely to be a good one. It was just an idea. The partially in consideration of that, the poor idea put forth by Theo. If the infection is localized to one particular kindred, and you have the freedom and mobility of Miriam being able to tap into her resources, that gives you all another opportunity. It gives you all another arm to use. As it stands, the moment Miriam feeds, whoever she feeds upon very well will potentially be deathly infected. It's not a ticking time bomb, it is so much worse than that. Think of each night that Miriam withstands and withholds from feeding in her present condition, that it is a virus attack charging up. And Miriam, where is your hunger? Listen. Did I lose you guys?
No, we're still here.
No, I hear you.
Did my microphone do the thing again? Okay. No,
Yeah.
maybe. Her hunger's at 3.
A lovely, nice round 3. Now, in the grand scheme of things, 3 doesn't seem like all that much. And individually, it's not. But it is, in fact, potential total hunger. Think of each step up the hunger towards a full-fledged Hunger 5 as an exponential increase of that pressure building. The voice, your voice, masquerading as all manner of evil or less than, echoing louder and louder. And luckily for you all, you have not been in or around anyone who's openly wounded and bleeding. But how long before that changes? How long before one of you, the coterie, decides to sink Fang, bend a portion of your beast strength to achieve something? How long before the dam breaks? And you all get to the garage with that question weighing on your shoulder, with that question sitting there before you. How long before the dam break? Because it is not just Miriam who has been a victim too. It is not just Miriam who has died to the virus crawling over her, swimming through her vitae. It's not just Miriam. There are others out there in the night, other human, kindred, other ghouled animals and unghouled animals who have fallen prey to what's slowly making itself at home inside.
Ugh. That's a terrible, terrible mental image.
Well, we do what we can.
Right.
I think
Now, to be fair, Miriam is pretty iron-willed, but that doesn't last forever.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, we probably should definitely find ways to get Miriam fed before she goes off and murders someone.
Yeah, it's on a to-do list.
Well-
A very long to-do list.
I mean, the feeding isn't the terribly difficult part. You can bleed
Just
them.
kinda staring at Miriam quietly for a minute, like she's trying to puzzle something out. No, it's the emptying you of blood first. You would have to rid your entire body pretty much down to its near last to be sure that you got rid of it, and then refeed you back up to full or as close to full as you can manage. And that's when the danger starts, because the beast would be wholly in control in that moment, which is why I needed to be locked away during.
I would prefer
I mean,
not to
we
go nuclear.
might be able to work around it and use it to our advantage if we want to go nuclear option. I.e., I know, and that's definitely something I'm considering. But
No,
can
I
you
just had a
imagine
funny thought.
being in a room full of
Oh,
people
for the love of God.
that you
What
want
is
to
your funny
stop
thought?
and not seeing
You
them
know a
as
striker, right?
people, but food?
Yeah, I've met.
What if he gets infected? Or in a porn museum and he gets infected?
What?
Never mind. Just was thinking, Or what if he got infected?
His place of business is a porn theater and museum.
I'm
That is what he runs. One of his businesses. That is how we met in the first place.
No, but the irony of it was,
Yeah,
was
not
actually
everyone.
less of a mission.
Though
He's already a
that does
sleazy fucking bastard. Do you really think that's going to stop him from doing anything?
that does beg the question: if he's got me on his hit list, so to speak, what's to stop me from reaching out to form an alliance?
With him?
Easy way to discredit him.
I still think he's the key to all this, and if we were to make him disappear somehow, the rest of the issues would go with him. But don't quote me on that.
Yes. Yes.
Is the car
She
still
is.
there?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Well, hey, at least one thing's working.
By this time, I'm sure we've gotten into the parking garage. Is the girl still there?
To find the torpid form of a non there? Were you expecting someone else?
I immediately checked the trunk.
Because
She takes a deep breath, but then she gets like a weird feeling. You know, Theo, we keep talking about
Okay.
the
Yeah, he
potential
tends to be kind of
Nosferatu
So-
fucking
tie,
unique.
and they were obvious Nosferatu.
Oh, the one that was
Then
tasting
the
or
Nosferatu in the
testing or
basement.
eating the people.
What did they look
He
like?
goes through the laundry list of describing her black, slick, oil slick form, how her body wasn't quite humanoid.
what made it non-humanoid?
It was because what was it? How did you phrase it? It was, I think you said that it was because her arms were off or hair. No, her arms were not proportioned. I believe that was it. No, it wasn't the painted lady. She left earlier. It was someone else. I tracked her.
Like, you
No, it was.
know,
It
No.
was
No.
the painted lady. She left.
No,
Oh,
she
that's
she
fucked up.
left
To me,
with
I remember.
the other two.
Do you
Then why
remember
Yeah,
didn't you? I've been thinking
any
that was
other
her the
one?
whole time.
It was the painted lady and somebody else. They got in the car and they drove out towards the insane asylum out west. I came
that's-
back, went downstairs.
Okay. And what Nosferatu did you see downstairs?
The one that was, it was one, and it was three other ones that were wearing white hoods.
All right.
And she was all black. She was testing for humans, like
Okay.
a touch here, a lick here, touch here. Our skin was jet black, and I feel Nosferatu. And then they ushered them into the back room. I was coming around. That's when I seen Miriam coming out, and then you coming down. You guys coming down the stairs, and then we tried to open the door to get to her. She was gone. Bats came out. Everything's caught up to here.
Okay, so jet black skin's the only feature that you know.
And not really humanoid. and she was tasting them. So I don't know if she had a mouth, as we would call it, like ours. It was just that she was like a sip here, a touch here, and it was
That
like
sounds like somebody I.
not something that even we would consider normal.
You're talking about the sommelier? I don't recall jet black skin on them.
There's an Nosferatu known as Janice that fits that.
I mean, that can be
description.
changed.
True enough.
Yes.
But if we're gonna... Okay. Theo, do you
Some of
remember
them can alter their
seeing
appearance, but the
extra,
closest thing
like
to
more on them than
slightly
they should be?
inhuman
Like, I don't know, a whole ass
Yeah,
extra
like
torso.
two heads
sounds like
almost.
Janice.
Yeah, like
Wait, okay.
conjoined twins sort of thing.
Then yeah, no, that screams Janice.
Well, Miriam, you and Hestia know that Janice is one of the higher ups in the same organization that Lucio used to work for, or work with, or still
Okay,
works
so
for.
now that we figured out,
The Giovanni.
what do we do with that information?
Yeah. Which fits with what I was thinking when I was asking if you knew his contact. Because
The Blood
it
Czar.
sounds
used to work for
like
Blood Czar.
some of the things that I'd been around in my early days, which is basically a we'll call it milking for lack of a better word.
Okay, after my experiences at that fucking Bahari festival, hearing the word milking does not give me the right headspace. So, what... We're talking about using people as cattle for blood?
Yes.
Alright. Feel absolutely fucking wrong that I have to ask that, but...
Oh, that was
Why?
I remember Lucy telling me the thing about Janice is that they always had the best palette for things. Like he could loosely request something specific and they would, at price, come up with it for him. And that they offered often very specific blends and could tell things about people
so
without
that's
being told.
could
It's
be
really
a couple of
strange.
things then. Like, the scientist in me wants to say that maybe she was testing, or they were testing, to see if the virus changed the flavor and if they could make it safe.
Why would they... What do you mean, make it safe? You talking about this diseased blood?
Right. So there's people who are infected can be carriers and not display any symptoms. So could be trying to figure out how to create that without actually letting them infect anyone else. So the flavor without the danger.
That. And also the fact that I just pointed out to Theo earlier if you control the
I
direction
think
of the
that's a great
infection,
idea.
you control the food source
I
rather
see.
than
Kind of vicious for you,
if you
Hestia,
make
but
the food
that's a great
unsafe
idea.
to eat, you could be the only source of safe food. And somehow it kind of makes sense to tie back
Well,
into
yeah, but
Brett
Brett's part of the
and his
Menalians.
Elysium
This was
parties,
a.
because if he's providing the food for the party,
He's
it would
not.
make it even more
He's got ties with the Menalians.
in demand for
Sorry.
people to go to his party.
He's a Menelayan like I'm a Bahari.
Oh, you seem pretty at home.
Loosely.
Right.
So as you all eventually get into the vehicle
Eventually, yeah.
and begin heading in your
That
direction,
makes me-
which direction is it? With all of the many secrets that are bouncing around the insides of each of your skulls, which all of the secrets that you've been exposed to, where are you all headed?
So, are we heading towards the religious side of the meeting?
Well, see, Hestia's driving, so
Yeah, that's why I said the religious site or the meeting. There's one of them where they're having a. Well, they're not having a religious event, and one of them where they're not having a meeting.
Shabo was very pointed in what he was saying.
and neither one of them have that.
Let's go to the meeting.
Alright, Logan Square it is.
It is one of the peculiarities of living in the Chicagoland area. No one judges by actual geographic distance. It is usually how long will it take you to get there? Because on the south side, there are certain cross streets and roads one can take at ridiculously law-breaking speed, which will shorten the arrival time. The same is true on the north side, and there's a greater opportunity of you incidentally damaging your own vehicle or being pulled over by the police. There's also very much on the west side a similar understanding as to how to get around, but it's more in avoiding the mass congestion areas or the long lights. Not necessarily one of breaking the law, breaking the neck speed. And so you know that at this hour of the evening, getting to Logan Square, there's very few shortcuts easily available to you. You know that at this hour of the evening, the streets that would normally be of a factor to save time, for instance, shooting down Milwaukee, or taking Clybourne down and around to Milwaukee, or otherwise shooting across Grand and you just have to circle up and around to get past North or what have you. Those streets are congested. They just are. It is one of the very horrible aspects of the city. There's always traffic somewhere. And now is no different. So instead of the usual 25 to 35 minutes to get from the Loop to Wicker Park to shoot over to Logan Square, you all end up having to take a very long, arduous way, giving you all more than enough ample opportunity to converse, cajole, and otherwise become more cantankerous with one another. So arriving a little worse for wear, safe as you could possibly be, there are several things that bother you. Several. One being there shouldn't be this amount of street parking. It's almost as if everyone and their mother decided to walk to best intention. There's no way and no reason at this hour of the evening that Armitage is as desolate as it is. Approaching from the southeast and shooting over, cutting down and around past the Soldiers of the Cross church, moving past all of the bungalows, tenements, having taken Cortland to avoid much of the traffic. The normal and expected mass congestion from Central Park all the way to Kedzie that you're expecting on Armitage, the bus drivers losing their patience, the bystanders moving afoot, none of that is present. In fact, it's almost as if the area is a ghost town. The normal loud music coming from the apartments above the storefronts, the normal average street congestion moving from Armitage Produce down to the Big Bud Preston, the clothing shop there on just off of Sawyer. The fact that there aren't the usual foodies up and down the block complaining about this, that, and the other from La Estrella or Damn Fine Coffee Bar. There's a moment in almost every commercial media where the group of individuals to each other and they say, almost in unison, it's quiet. Too quiet. And as you all ease into a parking spot, I'd like to thank you all for a lovely episode, and I'll see you guys next week.